Somewhere in a bathroom cabinet right now, there's a paternity test kit waiting to be used. Swab a cheek, mail it off, and 2 weeks later, a lab answers a question that used to be one of the deepest uncertainties a human being could carry. But how your ancestors actually handled this question is far stranger. They had no labs, no swabs, and for most of human history, they didn't even fully believe fatherhood worked the way we now know it does. Start with the basic problem. A mother always knows her child is hers. She felt it grow, she watched it arrive. A father's certainty is completely different. He wasn't there for conception in any way he could verify. He had no biological signal telling him a child was his and not another man's. Evolutionary biologists call this paternal uncertainty, and it shaped human behavior in ways that still echo through your life today.
So, what did ancient humans do about it? The first strategy: control access. Anthropologist Robin Baker argued that a huge amount of early courtship and marriage behavior functioned as biological insurance. Mate guarding, jealousy, the instinct to stay close to a partner during fertile periods. These weren't just cultural inventions, they were behavioral solutions to a problem with no test kit. If you couldn't verify paternity biologically, you tried to verify it socially. But guarding a partner constantly is exhausting, and it doesn't fully solve the problem. So some societies did something stranger. They changed what fatherhood meant. Among the Bari people of Venezuela, anthropologist Stephen Beckerman documented a belief system now called partible paternity. In these cultures, a child could have more than one biological father, not symbolically, but according to their own belief system. If a woman had relationships with multiple men during pregnancy, each man could be considered a contributor to that child. Beckerman's fieldwork found that children recognized under partible paternity had more resources, more protection, and higher survival rates than children with only one acknowledged father. In a world without hospitals, a child with 3 men feeling responsible for it had better odds than a child with 1. Ancient humans, at least in some cultures, didn't solve the uncertainty of fatherhood by demanding proof. They solved it by redesigning what a father was for. Variations of this idea appear across dozens of indigenous societies throughout South America. The logic was consistent. A child's survival depended on resources and protection. If more men believed they had a stake in providing those, the child benefited, regardless of who the sole biological source actually was. Other societies took a different route, shifting investment away from biological fathers altogether. Anthropologist Sarah Blaffer-Hrdy studied what she calls alloparenting, raising children collectively rather than relying on one father-mother pair. Uncles, grandmothers, older siblings, and unrelated group members all contributed to keeping a child alive. Hrdy's research suggests this wasn't a backup plan. It may have been the original human parenting system. If a whole group protects a child, the exact identity of the biological father matters less. The question, who's the father, mattered less when the honest answer was everyone, a little. But biology doesn't disappear just because culture builds a workaround. Psychologist Stephen Plattek studied how people respond to infant photos when told a child might not be biologically theirs. Men shown infants who resembled them reported far stronger feelings of warmth and willingness to invest, even when no real relationship existed. Facial resemblance may function as evolution's own paternity test, a visual signal that triggers investment without proof. That's why grandparents are often first to say a newborn has his father's nose. It's not just small talk, it may be a very old instinct still doing its job. Ancient humans also built social technology around this, long before science existed. Marriage in many early cultures functioned less like romance and more like a paternity claim, formalized publicly so everyone agreed in advance whose children counted as whose. Rituals, dowries, and public ceremonies made fatherhood a matter of public record in a world with no written records at all. Timing mattered too.
Many cultures built taboos around when a woman could take a new partner after a relationship ended or after giving birth. These functioned as informal calendars. If everyone respected the timing, a child could reasonably be assigned to a certain man without anyone needing to understand ovulation or gestation. Social rules did the work biological knowledge couldn't yet do. There's even a physical dimension. Researchers building on Baker's sperm competition theory have pointed to features of human reproductive anatomy that look almost custom-built for an environment of paternal uncertainty. Evidence that competition between men's reproductive cells was a real, recurring evolutionary pressure. Your body may carry the fingerprints of a problem your ancestors never consciously solved, but never stopped adapting to.
Here's the counterintuitive twist. Evolution didn't optimize for certainty about fatherhood. It optimized for investment, behavior that kept children alive long enough to reproduce themselves. Certainty was just one path to that outcome, and for most of human history, not even the most common one. Partible paternity, alloparenting, resemblance bias, public ritual, all different strategies aimed at the same target: keep the child fed, keep the child protected. This is where the ancient world starts to feel familiar. Modern paternity anxiety, jealousy, the obsession with does he look like his dad, none of it appeared out of nowhere. It's a direct descendant of a problem your ancestors spent tens of thousands of years managing without a single test tube. The DNA kit in that bathroom cabinet is new. The question it answers is not. Reliable genetic paternity testing has existed for less than half a century. Before that, for roughly 300,000 years, every father who ever lived raised his children on some combination of trust, resemblance, ritual, and shared community investment. Kings uncertain about heirs, farmers uncertain about neighbors, hunter-gatherers uncertain about campmates, all of them built families anyway, not because the uncertainty didn't matter, but because human societies got remarkably good at making it matter less. And the strategies never fully disappeared. Grandparents still scan a newborn's face for a familiar jawline. Communities still treat weddings as public declarations. Some cultures still practice shared caregiving that echoes the alloparenting Hurdy documented. None of it is coincidence. It's inheritance, just not the genetic kind. Maybe that's the real reframe. You live in the first era of human history where fatherhood can be settled with total certainty, in days, for less than a nice dinner. Your ancestors never had that option, so they built families out of behavior instead of biology, guarding, sharing, resembling, publicly declaring. The uncertainty didn't weaken ancient family structures, it's part of what built them. Somewhere in a bathroom cabinet right now, a paternity test kit is waiting to be used. And it exists only because, for most of human history, the answer had to be built by hand.